Hello Virgo and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs for June 2023, looking at your connection to the person you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from at this time. We're looking at all three sides of it. We've got your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story. So looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. These energies can absolutely be swapped. So if you end up resonating more with the energy to my right than to my left, or if you're a cross watcher, then vice versa, that is totally fine and totally normal. Remember, these are general readings. They will not resonate fully for everyone. So do remember to take what resonates and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. I'll be using a different tarot deck for each side of this connection, in addition to the two decks I've already pulled and the advice deck I'll be using in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. All right, Virgo, on your side of this connection, first of all, things have been pretty painful for you in regards to this connection. So if that doesn't resonate, this definitely isn't your reading. But on your side, you have knowledge with the Chariot in reverse. Things I feel like came to a halt in this connection. I don't know if things stopped moving forward, like progressing, or if they like ended. I don't know yet. But with this knowledge card, this connection's a pretty big teacher for you. There's a lot to be learned from this that you either are learning or have learned or will be learning. Again, I'm not really sure yet. Now, this person, they have Knight of Cups with Truth. This person's in a very emotional energy when it comes to this connection. Now, this truth card to me, it feels like something like they're having a hard time facing the truth or being honest with themselves or something like that. And they're kind of allowing their emotions to be the like dictator of their movements, choices, and decisions. And I feel like that might have been an issue throughout the connection, but it's definitely coming through now. Now, in between this connection, you have soulmate with the 10 of Swords. I mean, this is a very intense kind of like when I see this soulmate energy, sure, you can label connections. They're my soulmate, they're my twin flame, whatever. But at the end of the day, what I'm seeing through this card is this was just a very intense connection. There was you guys had a huge pull to each other. There was probably, pretty instant attraction, or if it wasn't instant, then it was just pretty intense. But then you have this 10 of Swords. It has been and is currently an energy of I don't know if it's betrayal or just pain, like just a very painful energy that exists in this connection right now that is coming through. So we'll see maybe where that's stemming from or what the purpose of it is. But let's start, Virgo, by looking at your side of this connection with knowledge and the Chariot. This is for Virgo's side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. This is for Virgo's side of this connection. One more. This is Virgo's side of this connection, please. You're stuck on it. You're stuck. You feel stuck in this connection. I feel like you feel stuck on the pain that this connection has brought into your life. The 9 of Swords in reverse, and then you have the Lovers here. You're working through, like, I feel like this connection really brought a lot of your insecurity in particular to the surface. Even, especially if there was like betrayal or abandonment or something like that, when it comes to feeling, deserving of love or deserving of reciprocal love, even like when it just like I just feel like when it comes to feeling deserving of what it is you deserve, the insecurities that you have associated with that have really been triggered. So if you, I don't know, I don't want to get too deep, actually. I want to keep going. So you're feeling stuck on this connection, and through what's happened here, your insecurities have been like shot to the surface almost. Virgo's side of this connection. There's Ace of Pentacles. Ooh. So this Tower in this connection actually has provided you with an opportunity here. And it has to do with this knowledge card. Because here's the Devil. sometimes the most painful experiences that we have, especially when it comes to love and, just connections in general, are usually our biggest teachers, right? They're there to teach us a pretty hard, deep lesson about whether, we believe we're deserving or not, or how we tend to view love. Do we view it through the lens of attachment, or do we truly, understand how to give and receive love with ease? All of the things that happen in connections, no matter how painful, are here to teach us something. And this connection is no exception for you. And so I feel like what this is saying is things have fallen apart because this devil energy here needed to be addressed. I don't know what this is, though. So I want to clarify this devil energy for Virgo. I want to clarify this devil energy for Virgo, please. Clarifying the devil for Virgo. Yeah, because there's a cycle. The devil, the world, and then the Knight of Cups or Knight of Wands in reverse, which is an energy of sabotage. So this is there's a cycle that's being brought to the surface through the way that things have played out in this connection. So I definitely am intrigued. I want to know if we can get some purpose behind this Ten of Swords so that you can, finally get to an energy where you feel you can move forward. This is Virgo's side of this connection. Understanding why something had to happen doesn't make it any less painful, but it does help you work through the pain associated. The Sun with the Justice in reverse. Okay. This connection once brought you this Sun energy. But over time with the Justice in reverse, it feels like the scales started to they went from being balanced to very unbalanced. So maybe, in the beginning, both people were giving and receiving in this connection, but then over time, those scales started to tip, and maybe you were giving more to the connection than you were receiving, or something along those lines. So I feel like things in this connection were once good, but then something happened to cause things to shift here. Let's get Virgo's side of this connection. Because you feel you feel like something's very unfair. You feel like you got the short end of the stick here. You feel like something wasn't fair with how things played out. Virgo side of this connection. But yet, your soul, the Two of Pentacles with the Four of Swords in reverse, your soul was kind of tired of the way that things were in this connection. I feel like with the Two of Pentacles, it looks like she's kind of like juggling, right? Like, I feel like you were juggling too much. Like, maybe you were juggling like your emotional needs with this person's, and it just wasn't sustainable. Because I want more on this Knight of Wands in reverse, because this is an energy of having the tendency to kind of self-sabotage. Clarifying the Knight of Wands in reverse. And we sabotage ourselves, often by, in so many ways, but in connections, it can be, giving more of ourselves to someone than we give to ourselves, things of that nature. Okay, Five of Wands with the King of Wands here. So you could be dealing with fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, but you don't have to be. Okay, what is going on here? Give me just a second. So, and then there's the Lovers. So this was like this does have like a soulmate-esque kind of energy to it, because we've seen the Lovers so much now. But it feels like over time, it transformed into something else. Like something not beneficial for both people. Sorry, my nose is really itchy. Something not beneficial to both people. That's where that imbalance comes from. And it feels like it wasn't beneficial to you because you were doing the juggling. You were trying to hold like too much, bear too much. And this tower happened. I don't know if things fell apart or if something in particular, something was found out or something happened because it had actually kind of been a long time coming. Because you were sabotaging your own happiness by giving more to this connection than you were receiving over time. That's why you feel like something's unfair here. Let me get more though. Virgo side of this connection. Virgo side of this connection, please. See, there's the sun and the lovers in reverse now. It's almost like, okay, hang on. I want to get a little bit more on this message, but I think I know what's going on here. Just before I speak, because it's kind of a big one. Clarifying the sun and the lovers in reverse. The Knight of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, yeah. So there is a part of you, Virgo, that doesn't believe that you deserve to be happy. And I feel like that's why maybe you put up with a lot of unhappiness because you didn't believe that you deserved happiness. And that's a big one, right? There's the Knight of Wands in reverse. It's like you feel like you didn't deserve happiness. So there's this level of like sabotaging it almost, like choosing to bear the burden of how this connection treated you over time because you didn't feel you deserved anything more. So this tower had to happen to bring all of this to the surface. Let me get more for Virgo's side of this connection. Virgo's side of the connection. There's the Hangman. There's this need to let go. Because it doesn't mean that it couldn't have potential in the future, but it also doesn't mean that you want to hold on to the potential of something or someone, because it is obvious that this has taken a lot from you. You know, if you think of the amount of energy that you have to give and receive in the form of like a cup or like a bucket, like you have your energy bucket and you have 100% of your energy that you can give out, and then you can only receive that much energy back, that same amount that you give out back. But if you're giving out energy to someone, say you're giving 20% of your energy to someone who is only returning 10, or maybe they did start with returning 20%, but then over time that 20 turned to 15, that 15 to 10, that 10 to 5, until it feels like you're receiving barely anything from them. Well, you keep pouring into them because you're hoping that they will eventually give back that 20. So you go from pouring 20% in to then 25% to 30% to 40%. Like as you increase how much you're giving, because you're hoping that the more you give, that they will increase how much they're giving back. Well, as you're giving more, they're decreasing how much they give back. And so over time, it goes from you giving 20 and receiving back 20 to you giving, say, 40% of your energy away and receiving back say very little, like 0 or 5 to 0. So let's say you're receiving 5. That's 35% of your energy that you are giving out and not receiving back. And eventually you will be pouring from an empty cup, because that is not sustainable. And so in a way, it kind of feels like that's what happened. Like things started, maybe things were very equal and it was this equal give and take. But then over time, you started, or they started giving less, so you started giving more to try to get them to give more, and it just kind of drained you. And I feel like this tower that happened, it brought a lot of what was really going on here to the surface, so that you could see that this wasn't actually making you happy. You were living for the potential of getting back to that, you giving 20, them giving 20, right? Hope that made sense. The person that Virgo is dealing with, side of the connection of Virgo, it just feels like this person is having a hard time like facing the truth, or like being honest with themselves or something. This person's energy toward Virgo. This person's energy toward Virgo, please. See, there's the Justice. You have the Justice in reverse. They have the Justice. And you know what's really interesting about these cards? Look at the difference in these scales. Look at the difference in these scales. This scale is balanced. They have a balanced scale. You have an unbalanced scale. Yours being in reverse and theirs being up. It's like maybe they didn't feel like there was anything wrong with what they were doing. Maybe they felt a little bit entitled to your energy. This person's energy toward Virgo. And that's why, like, maybe you'd ask for more and they'd be like, oh, well, you're asking for too much, right? That's the common answer you often will get when someone isn't willing to take accountability for the way that they're not showing up. This person's energy toward Virgo. It's like they saw things as fair. They see things as fair, but you feel like things are very unfair. This person's energy toward Virgo. They had love here. They have love here. They have the Two of Cups. And they have the Ten of Wands. But they view this connection as very burdensome. They don't view you as a burden. That's not what I'm saying. But I feel like this connection, you know, this truth card, it almost points them to this, like, to truths about themselves that they don't want to face. And I feel like that's why they look at it as a burden, is it kind of makes them have to face aspects of themselves that they aren't necessarily proud of, or they've kind of kept buried. And maybe that's why, like, they have this trouble, you know, really taking accountability for the ways that they've hurt you or messed up or their fault. This person's energy toward Virgo. The Devil. Ooh, okay. I said this devil needed to be brought to the surface. And there's the Knight of Wands in reverse. Both people in this connection have a tendency to sabotage themselves, but in very different ways. And what I mean by that is, Virgo, I feel like you have a tendency to overgive, and this person has a tendency to run. So chaser runner dynamic. It's because of this devil energy. Can I get more on this? The Six of Swords in reverse. Okay, same as what you have there. See, this is a very mirrored connection. I saw something that said, And I've mentioned this, and I'll probably mention it in a few videos this week because I saw it this past weekend, and I just think it's really important for connections as a whole. But it said, your biggest complaint about your partner, now this doesn't have to be a romantic reading, but if it is, and just kind of a nugget of advice for anyone, your biggest complaint about your partner is an insight into your emotional needs that aren't being met and not actually their biggest flaw. And, oftentimes we overlook what's really going on because it's easier to blame it. And the example that I'm using is like, you hear commonly like the dishes being left in the sink, right? Like people get upset because they're very when you're very triggered by like, oh my gosh, the dishes are left in the sink again, and it spirals into this big argument. You can then kind of, start to uncover that it's not actually about the dishes in the sink. There's more going on there, and usually it stems from the fact of like, well, my needs aren't being met. I don't feel appreciated. I don't feel like I'm being supported, whatever the case is. Now, what I'm getting at is oftentimes when we're in like these kind of intense soulmate type connections, if we aren't able to look within ourselves and really understand what it is that we require from another person, then we won't know where our boundaries are. And if you don't set those boundaries and say, this is what I need, this is what I require, and this is what I will and won't put up with, then you will start to lose yourself in a connection because you start to attach yourself to the person and to the outcome so much so that you forget and almost like lose sight of what it is that you actually need, because your focus becomes so much on like, how can I make this work, regardless of whether or not my needs are being met in the process. Now, that's where I feel like your focus is. This person, they're kind of the opposite of that, where it's like when things get challenging, I feel like instead of trying to put more effort in, which is kind of what I explained with the energy cup, they then run. They run away, they pull back. So for you, when you start feeling a separation or a distance or something, you give more, you put more energy in. And then this person takes energy out. And that's why you both have a tendency to sabotage your own like kind of happiness, or why you have a tendency to sabotage loving connections. And it comes from that place of, it's like needing to know that like you're safe almost, and how much you feel you have control over that. So if you feel like, if this person starts to feel unsafe because they're they're being triggered by the emotional intensity of a connection or whatever it is, in order for them to make themselves feel safe, they pull back. That's how they regain control. For you, whenever you feel like you're unsafe and you want to regain, control of a situation, or feel like you're in a better place, you give more because that is within your control. And so it does come down to like feeling like you need like that kind of like that safety, right? This person's energy toward Virgo. This is an interesting message because it feels like this person is tired, like the way this comes through, like tired of having the same conversation over and over. Maybe the same argument or something. But yet, if the argument arises, it's because there's more going on, right? So it could be, again, this person could be like, man, I'm really tired of Virgo complaining about the dishes in the sink. Like, I'm just really tired of having that conversation. When in reality, Virgo, you feel like you're not being heard when you're saying, through these arguments, you're saying, I don't feel respected, I don't feel supported, I don't feel valued, right? And those are just examples. It feels like this person, it's like they withdraw because they don't know how to handle the emotional intensity of taking accountability for the ways that they're not showing up for you. Now, at the same time, Virgo, you need to make sure that you are showing up for yourself, that you are communicating your needs, and that you are making sure that, you're setting healthy boundaries for yourself. This person's energy toward Virgo. This person's energy toward Virgo, please. They're disappointed in how things are. I don't know if they're disappointed in themselves necessarily, but they are disappointed in how things are. I want to get more on this Five of Cups because I don't know. I feel like this person might have done something. Or it could be an accumulation of things over time, but what is this Five of Cups? What is Virgo what is this person's disappointed about? Hierophant with the Strength in reverse. They're disappointed in themselves. They are disappointed in themselves because a part of them feels like they weren't strong enough. But yet I feel like they're having a hard time really facing that. That's what this Truth and this Knight of Cups is talking about. So they are. They are disappointed in themselves. But like in the way they treated you or in the way they handled this. Have handled this. This person's energy toward Virgo. Yeah, but then they have the King of Swords in reverse, and this is an energy of like being manipulative. So it's like, again, I feel like that's how they like control themselves. Or feel in control of themselves. Because people who need to control other people have to do that because they feel out of control themselves, right? They have to regain control. And so they could come off as like I don't know if it feels like this person struggles with the truth. Like being honest with you or being honest with themselves, which then would reflect as being dishonest toward you. But I feel like that's been... I want to clarify this, actually. I want to clarify this King of Swords in reverse. Clarify the King of Swords in reverse. There is, yeah, the Knight of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. It's like they feel overly, like, okay, they see long-term potential here. But like, because of the emotions associated with that for them, they push you away. And that's how they sabotage. And I feel like that's why, like, they're not honest with you because they're not honest with themselves. Like, maybe they come up with reasons to push you away, or they justify it, or something. Because again, this person struggles with taking accountability. It's like they're disappointed in themselves, but they're not taking accountability. And that could be like a subconscious, conscious, at war kind of thing too. We're going to hop on over to the extended. Clarify soulmate with the Ten of Swords. We have 9 different messages to pull from between this connection. Then I have an advice card to pull at the end. Thank you so much, Virgo, as always, for your support of my channel. I do hope that this reading helped and resonated with someone out there. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. Bye, Virgo.